Tell us about your comedy stylings. Do you like George Carlin, Richard Pryor? Who you like? Who would you compare yourself to? Henny Youngman?
Not Henny Youngman. None of the insult comedians. I try to be more respectful than that.
I see a young Richard Pryor when I see you up there.
Well, he has been someone who modeled his career earlier after my humor, but I'm not sure. Well, of course, he's no longer with us, so I have to have a new role model.
Presumably, if this was an evening event, you'd work blue.
No, I would never work blue. It would be easier because on St. Patrick's Day, an evening event, I think the crowd may have been a little looser when they were this morning, but no, blue is just not me.
Almost no one drunk here this morning.
Who are
A few.
Who are your actual favorite comedians?
My favorite comedians? Oh, man. You got me in a tough one here.
You know what? I'll give you a little advice. Don't go with Cosby.
Someone just didn't they? That was the
Louis C.K. Do you know Louis C.K.? I don't know who that is. Do you know who Stephen Wright is?
You're getting me here, Mark. I mean,
Alan Sherman.
I'm ready to tell you the Prime Minister of India, but you're asking me obscure comedians that everybody in the country knows. Do you know, in my 12 years as governor, I issued one pardon.
One pardon? For Lenny Bruce?
For Lenny Bruce.
Oh.
See, that's
actually
comedy.
Now, that's
your comedy
I'm tough on crime, but he was dead, so that there wasn't a risk of him going out.
That may be the first thing I've ever heard that you've done that's actually heroic.
Thank you very much.
Who's funnier, Elliot Spitzer or Andrew Cuomo?
Elliot Spitzer is funnier when he's trying not to be.
Who's funnier, Bill or Hillary Clinton?
Hillary explaining her emails is just absolutely hilarious. But,
what are your skepticisms about that?
About the emails?
Yeah, it's stories she's told.
What
makes you skeptical?
It's so clear that she did it for convenience. I mean, I just immediately accepted that. And the fact that she has turned over all but personal emails. I mean, how could you question that? I mean, it makes so much sense to me.
Do you think at the moment she's lying?
I wouldn't use that word. I think the American people understand that there was probably some motive other than mere convenience, and that I also find it hard to believe that for 4 years not one email was sent that included any classified information. And I'll tell you, seriously, one of the most arrogant things about this is we're in an era of cyber theft all the time and cyber break-ins, and we saw what happened with Sony in North Korea. And our own military central command had its social network hacked by ISIS, and she thinks this basement server is going to be secure because there are Secret Service people guarding it. I don't think that's quite the concern that the American people should have.
In terms of the ratio, in terms of your email, right? You got business email and personal email.
Correct.
What's the ratio? Hers is apparently more personal, 31,000 personal, 30,000 business. What's your ratio?
There's no question more business.
Yeah, right.
No, absolutely. And it's not as though she didn't have a day job during those 4 years where she was spending all the time just socializing. But
you think you won votes today off your comedy?
I'll leave that to others. I don't expect to get a few nightclub gigs as a result of what I did this morning. I'm going to wait and see if I might get contacted, but I'm not holding my breath.
There's a new club in Manchester called Club Manch Vegas. I'm wondering if you've been there yet.
I have not been there.
No, does that interest you at all?
No, it does not interest me in the least. I mean, but on the other hand, if there's a lot of others there.
What about the comedy stylings of Lindsey Graham? What do you have to say about that?
Lindsey's very funny. He really is. He's spontaneous and he's very, very funny. And I did tell my staff, whatever you do, do not let me follow Lindsey Graham. But what can you do?
You presumably took all of the jabs at you from the Democratic side of the aisle today in the proper spirit.
Absolutely. It's whenever you're afraid of someone, you attack them that way with you.
Right. You can see the Democratic establishment in this state is terrified of the Pataki insurgency.
We got to go, but one big part of comedy is imitation. Do you do any imitations?
No.
None.
None. Not a single one.
Not one. You don't
I
do Mario
can imitate,
Cuomo,
I can
Bill
imitate
Clinton?
George Pataki.
Let's hear that. All right, Governor, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy
Thank
St.
you. Great
Patrick's
to
Day,
see you.
Mark.
Try not to drink too much, okay?
I'll do my best to behave.